The moon burned white, low and swollen, a cold eye staring over the sleeping village. Every drum, every cricket, every breath had gone silent. In the courtyard behind the house, 4 women in black wrappers moved in a circle around a small fire. The flames spat red and blue, licking the night with whispers. At their center lay a clay pot filled with palm oil and feathers, sacrifice trembling under the spell. Kemi crouched behind the banana tree, bare feet in the dust, her pulse drumming louder than the wind. She saw her stepmother, Mama Bisi, her face carved in shadow, her voice deep with words no human should know. A strong life must go, said the first woman. Yes, Mama Bisi answered. My husband's spirit will bring us power. In 3 nights, he will belong to us. The words struck Kemi's chest like a spear. She stumbled back, crack. A twig broke. 4 heads turned. Someone is there. Before she could run, the air split apart. Black smoke burst from the fire, coiling around her like living rope. Mama Bisi's face flared crimson through the haze. You will not speak, she hissed. Bleed instead. A flash. Pain. Darkness. Then silence. The goat opened its eyes. Kemi's scream never reached her throat. The red light had burned it away. When she awoke, the world was huge grass blades taller than her arms, pebbles sharp as mountains. She tried to shout her name, but what came out was a strangled bleat that wasn't human.
My friend,
her heart hammered in terror. She looked down and saw hooves, short brown fur, the trembling of a goat's chest, where her body should be. The smell of smoke still clung to the air. The women were gone. Only the dying fire remained, its embers watching her like eyes. Then the back door creaked. Mama Bisi stepped out, her wrapper neat again, her market beads clicking softly. In her hand, a rope. Well, she said, smiling coldly.
My friend,
now let me see how you will tell your father. Kemi tried to run, but the rope snapped around her neck. She kicked, choked, stumbled.
Help me.
Mama Bisi dragged her across the ground, muttering strange words that made the air sting. You saw what was not yours to see, she murmured. You broke the line between living and shadow. Now live like an animal. Kemi's bleating echoed through the night as she was tied to the kitchen post. The earth under her body was cold. Dew crept through her fur. Above, the moon glared down, an unblinking witness. She heard the stepmother whisper to the dark, pouring palm oil into a calabash, sealing the curse. By this oil, by this night, by this blood unseen, let her speak no truth again. The rope tightened like a verdict. Then the house went silent. Kemi tried to pray, but even her thoughts felt heavy. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw her father's face, unaware, gentle, tired. He would never believe what had happened. She wanted to scream for him, but goats had no words, and goats had no tears. The night dragged on until dawn began to grey the sky. The first rooster crowed, a cruel reminder that life outside her prison continued as always. From inside the house came Baba Adai's voice, calm, ordinary. Kemi, bring me water. No answer. He called again. Still silence. Kemi strained, desperate to make a sound he could understand. All that came was a hoarse me. The sound broke her heart. Mama BC emerged, her face a mask of concern. "Ah, husband," she said sweetly. "Perhaps she went to fetch water early." He nodded absently, rubbing his tired eyes. "She is a good girl," he said, and left for the farm. The moment his footsteps faded, the mask dropped. Mama BC turned on the goat, lips curling in triumph. "You heard him, little fool. He doesn't even suspect. Let's see how long before he forgets you completely." She untied the robe, fastened it to a heavy basket, and began to pack palm oil, dried pepper, smoked fish, and the trembling goat beneath a thick cloth. The road to the market was long, dust rising with each step. The cloth muffled the air. Heat pressed against Kemi's lungs. Her heart beat like a drum of war. Beneath the cloth she kicked weakly, but Mama BC only hissed, "Quiet! You've made enough trouble." At the market, the noise of traders and drums swallowed her. Mama BC smiled, greeted people, laughed like any kind woman selling her goods. "Strong goat for sale," she cried. "Fat, healthy, ready for the pot." Hands touched Kemi's back, tugged her ears. She bleated, begged, but to the villagers it was only the sound of an animal. Her mind screamed in the cage of her body. "5 cowries," one woman said. "Too much," another muttered. "No one wants you," Mama BC hissed under her breath. "Even as meat, you are useless." The sun rose high. Hours passed. Then came a man with weary eyes and worn hands, Baba Shola, and beside him, his son, Tunde, barefoot, curious. The man examined the goat. "This one," he said. "How much?" "For you," Mama BC smiled thinly. 6 cowries. He hesitated, counted his coins, nodded. Done. The robe changed hands. Kemi's heart plummeted. Mama BC's smile returned, soft as poison. "May she fill your pot well," she said. The boy, Tunde, looked at the goat strangely, as if seeing something more. But his father was already walking, pulling the rope. Kemi stumbled behind, hooves scraping against the red earth. She looked back once. Mama BC stood watching from her stall, the sunlight gleaming off her earrings like fire. When they reached the road's end, Kemi felt the weight of destiny press upon her chest. Her father was still alive, but for how long? 3 nights, the spirits had said. 1 already gone, 2 left. And she was no longer a girl who could speak. She was a goat walking toward a knife. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of dust and dread. The curse had only just begun. In G. "How much?" a woman asked. 5 cowries, said Mama BC. "Too much." The goat's eyes looked strange. Kemi's heart leapt. Someone saw something, but the woman shrugged, waved her hand, and moved on. Hours dragged by. The sun climbed, then sank, painting the world in dying gold. No buyer. Then a voice spoke from behind the crowd. Tired, low, human. "I'll take it." Kemi turned. A man stood there, rough hands, dust-streaked face, old cloth wrapped around his waist. Beside him, a boy of 10 stared at her, his gaze sharp, uneasy. This goat the man said. How much? Mama Bisi's smile flickered back. For you, 6 cowries. He counted his money and handed it over. The rope changed hands. The boy's eyes lingered on her as if hearing something beneath her bleating. Thank you, good woman, said the man. Mama Bisi bowed. May she fill your pot well. As they walked away, Kemi twisted her neck for one last look. Her stepmother was smiling, sunlight catching on her earrings like spark. The path to the edge of the village was quiet, except for the crunch of sand underfoot. The boy looked back several times. The goat's eyes followed him, pleading. Something in him stirred a fear he couldn't name. At last, they reached a small mud house near the river. The man tied the goat beside a pile of firewood and muttered, Tomorrow we eat well. He went inside. The boy stayed a moment longer, studying her. The air was thick with dusk and river mist. Fireflies blinked between them. Your eyes, he whispered. They look like human eyes. Kemi froze, heart hammering. A moment passed, trembling and eternal. She tried to speak, and for the first time, the curse loosened by a thread. Help me. The boy jumped back, eyes wide. What did you say? Kemi's voice was barely a breath. Help me, please. And in that moment, as the night gathered around them, a fragile hope flickered alive the first crack in the curse, a single voice crossing the line between beast and girl. The rope still burned against her throat, but now it was more than a leash. It was a promise waiting to be broken. The wind stirred the trees. Somewhere, far away, Mama Bisi felt it and frowned uneasy. For when a truth is buried by witchcraft, the earth itself begins to dig. The boy could not sleep. Outside, the wind prowled through the grass, carrying the bleating of the strange goat. He lay on his mat, eyes fixed on the roof where the moonlight slipped in thin silver threads. Beside him, his father snored, breath heavy from palm wine. But the boy's mind was full of those eyes, those human eyes shining in the dark like pieces of another world. He rose quietly and padded outside, bare feet pressing into the cool dirt. The goat stirred as he approached. Kemi, he whispered, testing the name she had gasped before fainting. The goat lifted its head slowly. The eyes met his again, pleading, alive. Please, she whispered, the sound like wind through a reed. Do not tell your father. He will kill me at dawn. Tunde's heart thudded so loudly he thought it would wake the whole house. But how? You talk? She nodded weakly. My stepmother did this. She used dark words. I saw her secret. I must stop her before the third night. She will kill my father. The boy bit his lip. He was only 10, but fear and wonder mixed inside him until they became resolve. I'll help you, he said. I promise. From inside came his father's voice, half asleep. Tunde, sharpen the knife for morning. The boy froze. He looked at the goat, then at the knife leaning against the wall. I'll find a way, he whispered. That night, neither of them closed their eyes. By dawn, the village was still half dreaming. The river mist hung thick, and the sun was just a pale thought behind it. Baba Shola stretched, yawned, and rubbed his hands together. "Today we eat well," he said, stepping into the yard. He reached for the knife. "Papa," Tunde said quickly, voice trembling. "Wait," his father frowned. "What now? You've grown afraid of blood?" "No, Papa, but this goat, it's different." "Different?" Tunde swallowed hard. "Let's take it to Baba Laja. Let him see first. If he says it's normal, then you can cook it." Baba Shola's eyebrows rose. "That old man with his bones and charms? You waste my time, boy." "Please, Papa," Tunde said, eyes wide, desperate. "Just this once. Trust me." The man studied his son for a long moment, then sighed. "You and your strange heart. Fine. But after this, no more foolishness." He untied the goat and grabbed the rope. "Come then. Let's see what your old sage says." The journey took hours. The red earth clung to their feet, and the sun grew hotter with each step. Kemi stumbled, exhausted, but Tunde whispered encouragements under his breath. "Hold on," he said. "We're almost there." At last, the trees opened into a small clearing. A hut stood there, walls of red clay, roof woven from palm leaves. Smoke rose thinly from the chimney, carrying the scent of burning herbs. Around the hut stood carved figures, half man, half spirit, guarding the threshold. "Baba Laha," Baba Shola called. "We need your help." The door creaked open. An old man stepped out, his beard white as river foam, his back bent but his eyes bright as thunderclouds. "I know why you've come," he said quietly. Baba Shola blinked. "You do? I have been waiting for this one." He pointed at the goat. Tunde's mouth fell open. You know her?" The old man's gaze sharpened. "Not her. The shadow that follows her. Bring her closer." They obeyed. Baba Laja knelt, his gnarled hand hovering just above the goat's head. "Child," he murmured, "speak if you remember your name." A hush fell. Then, weak but clear, came the whisper. "Kemi." Baba Shola stumbled back, eyes wide. "It spoke by all the gods it spoke." Tunde clutched his father's arm. "I told you, Papa. She's not a goat." The old man's eyes closed. He reached for a gourd filled with white powder and drew a circle in the dust around them. The air grew dense, heavy with waiting. "This curse is deep," Baba Laja said. "Blood bound to blood. Only truth and sacrifice can break it." He began to chant low, rhythmic, in a tongue that sounded older than the wind. The powder rose in thin spirals of light. The goat trembled. The earth groaned softly beneath them. Then Baba Laja sprinkled water across her back. It sizzled like hot iron meeting rain. Kemi cried out, not in bleating, but in voice. Light burst from her body, blinding white. Horns shrank, fur vanished. In moments where a goat had stood, a girl knelt, trembling, naked, covered in ash. Baba Shola dropped to his knees, stunned. Tunde's mouth fell open. The old man simply nodded. "So it is done," Kemi coughed, then looked up. Her eyes were wet but fierce. "Thank you. I must go. My father is in danger. The third night is coming." Baba Laja helped her stand, his face grave. You have until the moon rises again. The spirit's debt must be repaid before then, or your father's soul will be taken." "I understand." He placed a hand on her head, murmured a blessing, and stepped back. Baba Shola could only stare. "Girl, forgive me, I nearly—" "You did not know," Kemi said softly. "Few ever do, until it's too late." She turned to Tunda, managed a weak smile. "You saved me. I will not forget." He grinned shyly. "Go, before the night catches you." The road home was a river of dust. Kemi ran barefoot, her feet striking the earth in rhythm with her heartbeat. The sun was cruel above her, but she didn't slow. The image of her father smiling, unaware, burned in her mind. By the time the village roofs appeared, the sky had turned bronze. She stumbled into the compound, hair wild, throat dry. "Papa!" she cried. "Papa!" Her father looked up from the courtyard, his eyes wide, disbelief flooding his face. "Kemi? Is it really?" She fell into his arms, sobbing. "It was her, Mama Bisi. She's no woman, she's a witch. She turned me into a goat. She wants to kill you before the third night." Gasps rippled through the neighbors who had gathered. Mama Bisi, pounding yam nearby, froze. Her pestle slipped from her hand, rolling into the dust. "You lie," she screamed, face pale as ash. "You lie, you demon child." Kemi stood firm. "You can shout, but the spirits heard your oath. They know what you promised beneath the moon." The crowd murmured. Someone whispered, "Take her to the king." Another said, "Let the truth water judge." Mama Bisi's breath came fast. "You don't know what you are saying," she hissed. But her voice shook. The mask was cracking as the third night rose. Drums began to echo from the square, slow, steady, summoning all to judgment. Kemi looked at the sky. The moon was climbing full again. Time had run out. The hunter had become the hunted, and the spirits were waiting to see who would fall first. The moon rose fat and silent above the iroko tree, its light sliding over spears and faces in the crowded square. Every villager had come, farmers with dust still on their feet, women with sleeping babies tied to their backs, children clinging to skirts. The air was electric, alive with whispers and breath. At the center, on the packed red earth, stood the king's carved throne and the elders beside him, grey heads bent like ancient stones. A drum beat began slow, one strike for truth, one for deceit. The king, tall and robed in crimson, lifted his staff. "Bring them forward." The guards pushed Mama Bisi into the open. Her wrapper was neat, but her face was bloodless. The crowd hissed. Behind her came Kemi barefoot, eyes burning, a survivor carved from both fear and fire. Baba Adai followed, trembling between rage and disbelief. The king's voice rolled across the square like thunder. "This night we call the ancestors to hear. Speak only truth, for the spirits walk among us." Kemi stepped forward, bowing low. The crowd fell silent. Her voice was soft at first, then grew with every word. She told them everything: the years of servitude, the full moon gathering, the red light, the curse, the market sale, the boy who saved her, the wise man who restored her body. Each detail struck like a hammer. The people gasped, some covering their mouths, others clutching their charms for protection. When she finished, even the crickets dared not sing. The king turned to Mama Bisi. "You have heard your daughter's words. What say you?" The woman's lips twitched.